Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. If you can hear me and see me okay, give me a thumbs up in the chat. We're going to wait just a couple minutes before we get started. Can everyone hear me and see me okay? Happy Sunday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Okay, perfect. You can hear me and see me. Awesome. How is everybody today? We're going to wait just a couple minutes and let some more students join in before we get started. Today's topic is going to be weather, talking about the weather. While we're waiting, let me know where you're watching from today. I see someone's watching from Pakistan. Type it in the chat. Malaysia, Lithuania, and India, Brazil and Nepal, Ghana, Uzbekistan, hi, Sri Lanka and Japan. Someone's watching from California, from Yosemite National Park. Nice. I bet you have a nice view too. Hi, Portugal and Bangladesh. We'll wait just a couple more minutes while some others join in. Hello, Saudi Arabia. Hi, Mexico. Belarus, Somalia. We've got lots of students from all over. Hi, South Africa. All right, well, I'll go ahead and introduce myself while we're waiting just one more minute or so before we get started. Welcome to today's live lesson. Maybe some of you have joined in the previous live lessons before, or maybe it's your first time. Regardless, welcome. If you have to leave early or if you join late, don't forget that today's live lesson will be recorded and uploaded to Cambly's YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it again in case you missed something or just want to review it. Our topic today is going to be how's the weather. So we're going to review some of Tutor Lizzie's small talk live that she did a few weeks back. And then we're going to go over some vocabulary words to talk about the weather, some expressions. And at the end of the lesson, we're going to learn a few fun idioms that involve weather vocabulary. Okay. All right. As everyone gets started. Also, my name is Tutor Molly for those of you who are new today and state of Tennessee in the United States. And you see all around the world. And China, hi Pakistan. Someone said today we celebrate Father's Day here. What country are you in? What country are you celebrating Father's Day in? Happy Father's Day. Hi Yusuf in Bangladesh. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. So if you missed Lizzie's live lesson about small talk a few weeks ago, you can find it on Cambly's YouTube channel for a good review. I also believe there's going to be a link to that video once this one's uploaded on Cambly's YouTube channel. But a few weeks ago, Tutor Lizzie covered small talk, and in that lesson, she covered some ways to talk about the weather. So we're just going to review some of those before we jump into the vocabulary that we're going to go over today. So a couple of those phrases to talk about the weather would be blank, don't you think? So you could say, it's really rainy, don't you think? Or it's a bit overcast, don't you think? Another way is it looks blank or it looks like blank. So it looks like it's going to rain or it looks really stormy outside. So we're talking about if we look outside of our window, what does the weather look like? So wherever you are in the world today, what does it look like? If you're looking outside of the window, if it's still light out, what does it look like? Does it look sunny or rainy? Does it look like it's going to storm? You can type that in the chat. And then another simple way is just it's blank today. So it's really sunny today, or it's hot today. It's rainy today. And the last one was I saw in the forecast blank. Okay, and we're gonna learn some fun expressions that you can use with these. So I saw in the forecast it's going to rain, or I saw in the forecast it's going to storm later. Good. And I already see some of you using some words that we're going to cover today. So hold your horses. We're going to go through the meaning of all of these. Maybe some of these are new to you. That's the goal, is that we learn some new weather vocabulary words. So let's take a look at these words in black over here. So we'll start with forecast. Hold your horses is an expression. When I say hold your horses, it just means wait. Hold your horses. So forecast, when we talk about the forecast is just the prediction of weather. So forecast is tomorrow, what's the forecast? We're predicting it's going to rain, okay? So forecast is the prediction of weather. So as Tutor Lizzie mentioned in her small talk lesson, you can say, I saw in the forecast, so that's just what the prediction of weather is going to be. I saw in the forecast it's going to rain. The next word is overcast. Overcast. It's one word together, not two words. So overcast is when it's really cloudy. There's lots of clouds in the sky. There's no sun. Maybe it's really gray, kind of gloomy and sad. So overcast is when it's very cloudy. And that's just one word together. It's not two separate words. So actually, it's a little overcast this morning here in Tennessee. There's some clouds in the sky. Not really a lot of sun. I think it's going to clear up though. The next word is humid. So if we use humid, that's an adjective, or humidity. Humidity would be the noun. So when it's humid outside, there's a lot of water vapor in the air, a lot of moisture in the air. Maybe here, especially in Tennessee in the summer, it gets very, very humid outside. So when you walk outside, you almost feel sticky, like there's water on you. It's not very enjoyable. Most people don't like when it's humid outside, when there's a lot of humidity in the air. The next one, hail, H-A-I-L, hail. So it usually only hails when it's storming. Hail is going to be when there's ice pellets that fall from the sky, usually big ice pellets that come down from the sky. It can damage your car if you're parked outside and it starts hailing really hard. It can leave some dents in your car. This doesn't happen very, very often, not as much as rain or storms, but hail is when there's ice that comes from the sky, and it can be small ice pellets. Sometimes there's really big ice pellets that fall. That is hail. Good. The next one is sleet. Sleet. So I'm sure you know what rain is, you know what ice is, and you know what snow is. So when we talk about sleet, sleet is going to be really small ice pellets, and it's usually mixed in with rain and snow. So maybe it's cold enough to snow, but it's not just big snowflakes. It's ice and rain and snow all mixed together. This is sleet. We typically get sleet here in Tennessee. We have a very mild winter. All right, the next one is frost. Frost. So at night, when the weather gets below freezing, it's really, really, really cold. It's below freezing, depending on what part of the world you're in. Here in the US, we use Fahrenheit. Most of the rest of the world uses Celsius. But in Fahrenheit, if it gets lower than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that is considered freezing. And there's water or dew on the grass. Frost is it's these little white crystals. It's where it freezes, the water freezes over, and it forms on the ground or maybe on other surfaces like your car. So in the winter, you go to bed at night and it gets really, really cold at night and you wake up the next morning, maybe you'll find frost on the windshield of your car, and you need to start your car before you leave to heat it up and scrape that frost off. So frost are just small white ice crystals that form on the ground or other surfaces when the temperature is below freezing. So it has to be really, really cold for it to frost. The next word is fog. Fog. So maybe if you wake up early in the morning and you look out and it looks like there's a big cloud, not in the sky, but right in front of you. This is fog. So usually when there's a lot of moisture in the air too, it almost forms a cloud right in front of you. This can be kind of dangerous when you're driving, if you have to drive through fog. So fog is like moisture in the air that forms a cloud, not up in the sky, but down where we are. Good. All right, the next one is thunder. So when it's storming, sometimes you may hear us refer to a storm as a thunderstorm. So we can just say storm or we can say thunderstorm. So thunder is the loud noise that you hear in the sky when it's storming. That is thunder. And then the flash of light that you see when it's storming is lightning. So thunder and lightning. Some people love thunderstorms or storms, and some people are scared of thunderstorms. And the last word is meteorologist. So this is the person who predicts the weather. They're the experts in predicting the forecast. Good, I see someone use an expression, you stole my thunder. What does that mean? Do you know what that means? That is an expression. He's stealing my thunder. That one's not included in the lesson today, but if you know what that means, type it in the chat for the other students to learn a new expression. You're stealing my thunder. Great example. Okay, does anyone have any questions about these vocabulary words that we just covered? Or if you know any more that you'd like to add that's not up here, feel free to type those in the chat. Very good. Yeah, it got really cool in the night, but it's predicting the forecast. So they're the ones who are going to figure out if there's a chance of rain tomorrow or if it's going to snow tomorrow. That's what the meteorologist does. So it's the person who says, oh, tomorrow it looks like it's going to snow. Meteorologist. Yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult pronunciation. Meteorologist. Say that 5 times fast. All right, so let's move on to some expressions about rain and storms. So this is going to be all the expressions in the red. Hopefully you can read those okay. So the first one, if we're talking about the forecast, maybe the meteorologist has given us the forecast for rain tomorrow, we would say they're calling for rain. They're calling for rain. It doesn't mean they're literally calling, right? They're calling for rain just means that the forecast has predicted it's going to rain. So maybe we had plans to go outside and hang out in the park tomorrow, and I say, oh, they're calling for rain tomorrow. Maybe we need to postpone. Not a good day to be out in the park. When it's raining really, really hard, that's a heavy rain, there's lots of rain, we can say it's pouring. It's pouring, or it's pouring rain, or we can say it's a downpour, or there's a downpour. So both of those mean really heavy rain. It's pouring, or there's a downpour. Or a fun expression, I'm sure you've heard this one. We don't actually use this one a lot in our day-to-day language, but it's raining cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs just means there's a really heavy rain outside. When there is a storm, we can refer to thunder. So remember, we talked about storms, there's thunder and lightning. So when we hear thunder, we refer to it as a clap of thunder. There was a loud clap of thunder. And when we see lightning, we can say, did you see that bolt of lightning or that strike of lightning? So a clap of thunder and a bolt or a strike of lightning. Let's say it's not raining heavily. So when it is raining a lot and very hard, we can say it's pouring or there's a downpour. But when it's not raining a lot, it's just raining a little bit, we can say it's drizzling, or it's sprinkling. There's a slight difference between the two. So it's drizzling just means there's like a mist. It's kind of misty. It's very, very light rain. If it's sprinkling, it's drops of rain, but not a lot. Maybe it's just starting to rain. It's sprinkling. Good. Someone said torrential rain. So torrential rain is very, very heavy rain. Torrential rain. Mina said torrential rain. Good. And if you think of any other ones that aren't up here, please feel free to type them in the chat and I'll read them off from the chat. And the last one, if it's raining a lot, I look out the window, it's raining really hard, I can say it's really coming down out there. It's really coming down out there. That just means it's raining really hard. That's an expression we use when it's raining really hard. It's really coming down out there. Does anyone have any other expressions to add to talk about rain or storm that you know of in English? I'm going to just check the chat and see if there's any. And good. So someone said we talked about the expression stealing someone's thunder. So stealing thunder means claiming someone else's success as our own. So maybe someone else completed a project and we didn't help, but we say, oh, I did the project by myself and it was successful. I'm stealing the other person's thunder. Someone said, I love it when it's sprinkling in hot weather. Yeah, when it's really hot outside and maybe it starts to rain or sprinkle, cools it down a bit. When it's raining and snowing at the same time, maybe we can use sleet, the word sleet. So sleet is kind of a mixture of ice and rain and snow. Good. Someone said light travels faster than thunder. And so that's why we see the lightning first and then we hear the thunder, right? Usually when it's storming, yeah, we'll see the flash of lightning or the bolt or strike of lightning. And then a few seconds after that, we'll hear the clap of thunder. Good. All right, if there's no other questions, feel free to keep adding more that aren't up here. If you know of more, keep typing those in the chat and I'll read those off. So we're going to move on to some expressions when it's hot outside or when it's sunny, which you can see in the blue. So maybe you live somewhere where it stays hot all year long. In some places in the world, there's no winter, right? I used to live in a country where it never got cold. It was hot every day of the year. It was either rainy and hot or just sunny and hot. We didn't have a winter. And so maybe if it's really, really hot, you could say it's scorching, or it's scorching hot, or it's boiling hot. This is just used to express how hot the weather is outside, the temperature. Maybe it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and you say, wow, it's scorching hot today, or it's boiling hot today. We've had a few days like that in the last couple of weeks here in Tennessee, where it has been scorching hot. Another way we can describe weather when it's hot, so remember we talked about the word humid or humidity? When it's humid outside, when there's moisture in the air, but it's also very hot, we could say it's muggy. It's muggy. So muggy just means there's a lot of humidity. Maybe we walk outside and we just feel sticky. It's muggy. It's usually not very pleasant weather when it's muggy or humid outside. Maybe it's really sunny where you are and it's just a clear blue sky and only the sun shining. We would say not a cloud in the sky. There's not a cloud in the sky, which just means the sky is completely clear. There's no clouds and it's a nice clear day. Raphael said, the weather in my country is so hot that I literally could fry an egg on my car's hood. Have you tried to do that before? That is very, very hot. I would like to know if you've actually tried to fry an egg on your car's hood and if it worked. Yeah, good. So when it's raining, but the sun is also out, that's when there's a rainbow typically. I see some examples. Good. Maybe it starts raining, but you also see the sun still. And then usually when this happens, you can look and try and find a rainbow somewhere. And then the last one, there's a heat wave. There's a heat wave. So a heat wave is when there's going to be really, really hot weather expected to come, right? So you think of a wave that kind of comes crashing over in the water. So think about it in the form of heat. So it's going to be just a wave of hot weather that's coming. So if we look back at the phrases that Tutor Lizzie did, we could say, I saw in the forecast there's a heat wave, or they're calling for a heat wave. We've had a few heat waves this summer here in Tennessee, where it just for 3 days gets really, really, really hot. Luckily, I think we're done with the heat waves this summer. I hope so. Armin said, it's boiling hot in my country. What country are you in? Where is it boiling hot? All right, any questions or anything to add for when we're talking about hot weather or sunny weather? If you have anything to add, please type it in the chat. And then we're going to move on to cold weather. And then we'll finish out with some idioms. Yeah, so you'd say it's raining very hard, or it's pouring down, right? Because you need to have the verb first. So it's raining very hard. It's blazing hot. Good example. Yeah, that's another one. So it's scorching hot, it's boiling hot, or we can say it's blazing hot. That's also another good one. It's very, very hot outside. All right, let's move on to cold weather. And then if you have anything else in the chat, please feel free to keep typing those. It's blazing hot in Sri Lanka. It's not as blazing hot here. Actually, yesterday in Tennessee was pretty nice. It was not humid like it has been. All right, so kind of like how we said there's a heat wave, which means there's really hot weather expected in the next couple days. We can also say there's a cold front. So when we say there's a cold front, it just means that they've predicted a wave of cold weather that's going to come through, a cold front. I saw in the forecast there's a cold front next week. The next one, there's some flurries. Flurries. So flurries is when it's snowing, but it's not big snowflakes. It's just little tiny white snowflakes kind of spitting from the sky. So we call these flurries. Usually when there's flurries, which we're going to get to next, these snowflakes aren't going to stick to the ground. So if it's just flurries, typically you're not going to wake up the next morning and see a bunch of snow on the ground. Which brings us to the next one. It's not sticking. So if you hear someone talking about snow and they say it's not sticking, we say this when it snows, we want the snow to stick to the ground so that it stays and so that it's really pretty the next morning when all the snow stays on the ground and it doesn't melt. So if it's not sticking, maybe the ground isn't cold enough, maybe the ground's still warm, so the snow is melting, or maybe it's flurries, it's really small snowflakes, so it doesn't stick to the ground. Usually when it snows, we want it to stick to the ground. That way we can go out and enjoy the snow, or if they cancel school or cancel work in some places. All right, the next one is black ice. Black ice. So black ice is when it's snowing or sleeting, and so there's water hitting the road, but the ground is so cold that it just freezes and turns to ice. It's not snow. It's not the white snow you'd see on the ground, but it's on the roads and the streets. When it snows or sleets, all of this water goes to the road, and the road gets really, really cold, and it actually just freezes and becomes ice. So in these conditions, you don't want to drive, right? It's really dangerous when there's black ice on the road. A lot of times here where I live, if there's black ice, they will cancel school because it's not safe to drive on the black ice or for the school buses to go on the black ice. It's really dangerous. The next one, so we can use this for summer or winter. It's the dead of winter. It's the dead of winter. When we say it's the dead of winter, it means like it's the middle of the season of winter. Maybe it's really cold and we don't see the end of winter in sight. The end of winter seems really far away. It's the dead of winter. And the same with summer. Usually in the month of July, I feel like it's the dead of summer, where it's so hot and I'm ready for summer to end, but we still have another month and a half of it. So it's the dead of winter or it's the dead of summer. Just means it's the middle of that season and maybe it's kind of miserable and you're ready for it to end, but you still have a few months to go. It's the dead of winter. The next one, maybe you've heard someone say, I can see my breath, or you can see your breath. So we use this when we go outside and it's so cold outside that when we talk or we blow, we can see the moisture. We see our breath, right, blow out because it's so cold. Our warm breath is hitting the cold air. So a lot of times, once maybe summer is turning to fall or fall is turning to winter and it's getting cold again, and you walk outside and you start talking, wow, I can see my breath, right? It means it's kind of cold outside. All right. And the last one. If we say bundle up, it just means it's going to be really, really cold outside. And bundle up means putting on lots of layers, right? Maybe a sweater and a coat and a scarf. You want to bundle up so that you can stay warm. So dressing with lots of layers to stay warm because it's so cold outside. So maybe I can say, I saw in the forecast, there's a cold front. You better bundle up. I saw in the forecast there's a cold front. You better bundle up. If you have any other cold weather expressions or words, please feel free to type those in the chat. I wanted to cover this really quickly. I meant to cover this in the beginning. A lot of times when we're wanting to describe weather, we're just going to take one of the nouns and make it an adjective by adding a Y, right? So if there's rain, it's rainy. If it's storming, we can say it's stormy. It looks stormy outside. Same with wind and fog. It's windy, it's foggy, it's cloudy, it's snowy. So this is a really common way just to describe the weather. So taking these nouns and adding a Y to make them an adjective. If you have any questions about that. All right, I'm going to check the chat. If you have anything else to add that's not up here, some fun phrases to describe weather, please type them in the chat. I'm going to look through really quick. And then we're going to end with some fun idioms that include weather words. While I'm checking the chat, what is your favorite season? If you live somewhere that has different seasons, what is your favorite season? Or maybe you live somewhere that doesn't have different seasons. Is there a season that you would like to experience? I know some people live in places where it doesn't snow. Have any of you ever not seen snow? Winter and summer? I don't like winter very much. I don't like the cold weather. I do like the snow, maybe the first or second snow, but after that, I get pretty tired of the cold weather. Winter, wow, a lot of you like winter. I I like the summer too, but by July, when there's a heat wave and it's very muggy outside, I don't like that kind of weather. Feels a little unpleasant. I don't like hot weather, so I'm looking forward to the cold front. Good example. Wow, you've never seen snow, at least in real life, right? Just maybe in movies or pictures. Well, maybe you'll get the chance one day to travel somewhere and see snow. It is very pretty. No snow in Durban, South Africa. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my little picture here. So when there's snow, a lot of people like to go out and play in the snow, build a snowman, or go sledding. Some of you are saying there's not seasons in your country. What country are you in? Where you said, in our country, there's no seasons. What country are you in? Yeah, summer is good, but it is hot. I agree. Oh, someone's going to Florida next year because of the weather, right? It's nice and sunny. Someone said, I love winter and summer in Egypt because the weather is always mild. That's nice. Doesn't get too hot or too cold. Good. All right. If you have any other questions, go ahead and type them in the chat and I'll check again before we end. So we have 5 idioms that we're going to cover. So all these idioms include some sort of weather words. So these are just some fun idioms that you can use while you're speaking English, maybe with your tutor on Cambly. Throw in some fun idioms. The first one is come rain or shine. Come rain or shine. So this just means that something's going to happen or something's going to get done no matter what the weather or the situation. So for example, maybe we have a big party planned tomorrow, a big birthday party planned, and they're calling for rain. We're going to say, well, come rain or shine, we're still going to have the birthday party, right? We're going to have the birthday party come rain or shine. So this just means it doesn't matter what the weather is. We're going to have the birthday party anyways. It's going to be done, okay? So come rain or shine just means something will be done despite whatever the weather is or whatever the situation is. We can use this also not talking about weather. So maybe there's some kind of obstacle in the way, and you're going to say, well, it's going to happen come rain or shine. It doesn't necessarily refer to weather intervening in your plans. Come rain or shine. Okay, the next one. Rain on my parade or rain on your parade. So when someone rains on your parade, it means they ruin your mood or they ruin your plans. They ruin your mood or plans. Rain on my parade. So maybe I'm in a really, really good mood and one of my friends comes up and starts complaining and is a bad mood. And I say, don't rain on my parade. Don't ruin my mood. I'm in a good mood today. Rain on my parade. Good. Someone said, I'm looking forward to winter so that I can see my breath. Good example. Okay, the next one. To be a breeze. Does anybody know what breeze means? If you do, type it in the chat. To be a breeze. What is breeze? I don't think I included this one in the vocab. What is a breeze? Someone said, I hate it when someone rains on my parade. Me too. So a breeze is just the wind, right? Light wind. When there's a breeze, it means that there's wind, light wind. So when something is a breeze, to be a breeze, it just means that it's very easy. So if I ask you, how was your English test yesterday? And you say, oh, it was a breeze. It was a breeze. It means it was really easy. You passed with flying colors. Right, good. Breeze is a gentle wind or a light wind. So when we say something is a breeze, it just means that it's very easy. My English test was a breeze. It was very easy. All right, we have 2 more. And if you know of any more that I haven't said, a piece of cake. Exactly. And that's another expression too. So to be a breeze is a piece of cake. I like that you're using one idiom to define another. Very good. It's not rocket science. Yeah. It's not rocket science can come off a little more sarcastic or harsh. So maybe you know how to do something and another person is having trouble, and you can say, it's not rocket science. It's very easy. But that can come off a little harsh sometimes, depending on who you're talking to and how you're using it. All right, the next one. To take a rain check. To take a rain check. So when we use this expression, it just means to postpone something. To postpone something. So maybe we have dinner planned tomorrow. We're supposed to go out and have dinner. And I get sick and I call you and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm sick. Can we take a rain check? So when you take a rain check, it's you have to cancel plans or postpone plans, but you have the intentions of still rescheduling later. Maybe some of you had to take some rain checks from some plans because you were sick or something else came up. Someone said it's not a breeze to learn English, but it's very fun. You're right. It's not a breeze learning another language. To take a rain check. Very good. Okay, last one. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. So we use this when something happens, something bad happens. One bad thing happens, and then it's like all bad things happen right after that or at the same time. So maybe you have one of those days where one thing goes wrong or one bad thing happens, and then many other bad things happen at the same time or right after that. And so when this happens, we would say, when it rains, it pours. When one bad thing happens, all bad things happen. Maybe you're just having a bad day. Is a very common expression. Usually when things don't go right for us, everything goes wrong, we would say this: when it rains, it pours. Good. So to take a rain check is to call off plans, but with the intention of rescheduling, right? Not just to completely cancel because you don't want to, but usually when we take a rain check, it's because something else happened and we need to postpone. We want to get together at another time. All right, I'm just going to give you a minute. If you have questions, type them in the chat. If you have any other fun expressions related to weather, feel free to share those in the chat. And maybe while I'm looking through the chat, tell me right now in your country, how is the weather? And maybe practice using some of the expressions that we went over today, or some of the vocabulary words, and also some of the phrases that we reviewed from Lizzie's lesson. So blink, don't you think? It looks, or it looks like. It's blank today. I saw in the forecast blank, okay? So I'm just gonna take a look at the chat. Let me know how the weather is where you are. You can also type again the country that you're in. Give you just a minute. Let me check and see if there's any other questions. All your classes are breezy. So maybe all of your classes are a breeze. All of your classes are a breeze. Good. Yeah, it's a stuffy day. So stuffy would probably be similar to muggy. Maybe you're just breathing in, the air is thick and there's a lot of moisture in the air. So stuffy could be the same as it's muggy. It's muggy or it's stuffy. Good question. It's a clear day. Yeah. So maybe when the same thing as like, there's not a cloud in the sky. It means it's a clear day, right? Just a blue sky, no clouds. So we also use that too. It's a clear day. Good. No rain, no clouds. It's not overcast. So someone said today it's a little bit overcast in Malaysia. In Iraq, it's very hot. In Sri Lanka, it's somewhat hot. Maybe a mild hot. It's not scorching hot, just a mild heat. In Pakistan, it's very hot. Oh, Tony, that's a great expression. I'm going to melt in the heat. So maybe it's so hot, you would say, I'm going to melt in this heat. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to melt in the heat. Great expression. Oh, there's a typhoon yesterday in Japan? I did not know that. In Iraq, it's hot and sunny. You can cook an egg in Iraq in sunlight. Tomo said it's crisp. Oh, crisp is a great word too to describe. When it's not hot and not very cold, the air is very clean and fresh. It feels nice out. It's crisp. All right, great examples. Thank you for sharing what the weather's like. If you have any other questions, you can leave a comment on this video. Don't forget, if you joined late today, this is going to be saved and uploaded to Cambly's YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it again. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you learned some new expressions to talk about weather. And really quickly, I know a lot of you are already students on Cambly, but maybe this is your first live lesson and you haven't used Cambly before. Cambly is a great way to practice your English with a native English speaker. We have tutors located all around the world, so you can find one 24/7. It doesn't matter what time you log on. And there is a code. If you haven't tried out Cambly yet, you can use the code GOLIVE and you can get a discount on your subscription. And that code is also going to be in the description of this video once it's uploaded to Cambly's YouTube channel. All right, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, despite what the weather is where you are. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.